Okie dokie. Thank you for joining us today for the Girl Scout Locavore Zoom with an expert, touching on steps 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, and 5 of the Girl Scout Senior Locavore badge. We do encourage girls to explore the steps further to complete the badge requirements. Let's start with the promise and law. We already did that, so we don't have to do it again. Okay. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Tina Castelli, the Town of Windsor's Farmers Market Manager. Tina has kindly agreed to be our special guest speaker for today and share her knowledge surrounding local foods, farmers markets, and other topics related to the Locavore Senior Badge requirements. Thank you, Ms. Tina, for joining us.
Thank you so much. I am so honored to be here. I actually am a Girl Scout. Was a Windsor Girl Scout for, let's see, 5th and 6th grade and on into 7th grade until I got into sports. But before that, I was a Santa Rosa Girl Scout. So this is quite an honor to come here and be here today. My name's Tina Castelli, and as she said, I manage the Windsor Certified Farmers Market. I do actually manage other markets, street fairs, and I also consult and help people with event planning, especially local nonprofits. So that's really fun for me to help them be successful, especially in their marketing. So I'm going to share my screen because I know you don't want to look at me the whole time here. And we'll look at some pictures at the market while I'm talking. So this is me at the Windsor Farmers Market. I have been the market manager since 2012. Let's see here. It's on the Windsor Town Green. This is a beautiful picture of the Windsor Town Green. We're very lucky in Windsor to have this beautiful park. The farmers market is along this long street down the side by the trees. And then we also L-shape up at the top there in front of the library. So we are a large market, about 60 vendors. Let's see here. So that's my mom and dad and me in the middle there. My mom started the Windsor Farmers Market in 2001 from scratch. Her and I were actually jelly and jam farmers in Healdsburg Farmers Market, and the town of Windsor wanted to start a market, and they asked the Healdsburg manager to recommend someone, and they recommended my mom. So I worked with her, always on her board, helping her hire music, special events, and she retired in 2012 and I took over. My dad, of course, your family has to always help. We've worked together for many years. This is a special event here. We just are hand in hand working together. That was my life. My husband and my daughter, also big helpers. It's always nice to have your family when you're working for a nonprofit because saves money. So the Windsor Farmers Market, again, has been in business since 2001. We are a certified farmers market. Let's see. Let me tell you a little bit about the difference between a certified farmers market and a non-certified. So we're regulated by the county ag commissioner. If you're certified, you have to, every farmer has to go to the ag department and certify that they grow all the vegetables that they have on their farm. I believe I have some pictures here. So that's my assistant. I can run the whole market by myself, except for during that, while it's open. And my assistant Lisa there is helping me, and we're rain or shine, so you see us there. We're located on the corner of Market and McClelland. We also have a nighttime market on Thursday nights, which is called Summer Nights on the Green. And that's where we have a lot of food vendors. And look at the people that come. They put their chairs out early in the day. And we have live bands, and the farmers market feeds everybody. Over 5,000 people used to attend. So we'll see how that happens in the future. Yeah, face painting, all those kinds of things. I also manage the Friday Night Live in Cloverdale, which is a street fair. It also had my daughter that helps me there too. It's really hot in Cloverdale, so we have to wear ice packs around our necks. Huge concerts there. Last year, I also managed the Santa Rosa Wednesday night farmers market, which is also a certified farmers market. And I had 15 young youths, high school and college age youths that worked the event with me. We were certified. I'll get into that more, but we have jumpies. And then we have these food vendors. These are one of my favorites, the worst, and the fresh corn that they make in with all kinds of flavorings. So you can have a farmer's market without being certified. The difference is that when you aren't certified by the ag department, you have to be certified by someone. So the health department steps in. So your local health departments would actually be the ones who would certify, not really certify, but they would permit and give them the licenses to run a farmer's market if they weren't certified. So my market in Cloverdale, for example, we are a special event, a community event, they call it. So the difference is in a certified farmer's market, we actually operate two events that run together. One is the certified farmer's market, and that is only farmers who grow everything themselves and cut flowers, eggs, meat, honey. Everything that's grown has to be proven that it's grown by the farmer and certified by the ag department. That is the certified section of the market. They have to be separated. And then the common public don't really know this happens. The other half of the market is actually called a community event, and that is where your food people are, where your jams and jellies, soaps, all kinds of other things, even cut flowers once they're cut. No, I'm sorry, cut flowers have to stay in the certified section, but plants that are in pots can go in the community section. So it's called a certified farmers market with a community event that runs adjacent to the certified farmers market. So we have two health permits, two of a lot of things because we're running the two separate things. So let's see here. So the Windsor market is every Sunday from 10 to 1. And then we also have the nighttime one on Thursdays in the summer from 5 to 8. Let's see here. There's no pets allowed at the farmer's market except for service animals. We follow the California Health Code because we do have food, and dogs aren't allowed near food. One of the questions was, what is my favorite part of this role? And my favorite part of this role is the vendors. As a manager, I'm there for them, right? I just make the arrangements to have the place where they can come and set up their booth or set up their store for, they're all individual little stores operating, and all we do is find the property, get the people there, organize the extra activities, and we give them the opportunity to shine in their own little businesses. And someday I want to make a video of how the market starts with a blank screen, a blank street with crickets, and then bing, 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 bing. All of a sudden, there's a whole town there that gets built every Sunday and then gets torn down and built again the next Sunday. So I love the vendors. I love, these are all our women farmers. I just love talking to them each day and them being happy and letting me know that we're doing everything for them that we can. Tomato farmer, and they're so happy and fun. And customers tell us all the time, gosh, I love coming here because your vendors are so happy and fun. And that's the truth. They're just great people to be around. So that's why I love this role. Why are farmers markets great for the community? So there are so many ways. This is a little bit about us. We're family friendly. Right now we're wearing masks. We're local, fresh, and we're a happy gathering place for the community. And that's Windsor's biggest deal is we are the gathering place. There you'll see people that they see their friends every Sunday at the market while they're shopping, and they collect and they talk. They grab a coffee. So it is really great for to be the kind of the hub of the community, and farmers markets often become that. There's also this little saying, did you know, if each of us spent $100 a year more on local businesses instead of chain stores, it would put an extra $3 million a year into our economy. So that's another thing, is that spending locally and buying from these farmers is super duper important. There's so many reasons. The Windsor market also, another reason why we're great for the community is because we partner with a lot of local nonprofits. Here's the Garden Club, and they sell those beautiful pumpkins. The art show, my daughter and I do appetizers for no charge. We have fun. We partner with the local culinary kids, and we've made a giant apple pies. This is our 6-foot apple pie, 420 pounds. We do have the record. We do have a Guinness record for the largest pumpkin pie ever made. There's a piece of the pie. Yum! I just love that picture. The culinary kids from Windsor High also, we made a nachos. That's back there. Oh, there's the pie. We made these nachos, which are so awesome. They're the first organic nachos ever made. They wouldn't give us the Guinness. And then we made focaccia too. And there's the big oven. Oops, shoot. I wanted to show you that. There's the big oven that Costeau Bakery in Hillsburg has, a big French bread oven that this pan was especially built to go in. So there's that oven. We partner with the Dia de los Muertos, the art trails, and another good reason why we're great for the community is because we can educate kids on how to eat healthy, and kids love the farmers market. Look, they love that ice cream, don't they? We have fresh ice cream at our nighttime markets, and they just love to come and eat and see their friends. We have what we call the Kids Dig It Club, and we have a free cooking class each month. So here's some fun little things we made. You guys might want to make some time. They're really cute, and we make anything that the kids can make on site without an oven. So we do have barbecue pizzas. We make fritters on electric grills. We do, in the summer when it's really hot, we make parfaits with all different kinds of fruit, and they make their own flavored whipped creams. Anyway, the cooking class is really fun. And then once a year, we have our Kids Day on the Farm, where they learn how to plant plants, and they can take home and grow in their yard. They get to draw their dream barn. And this is another partner, the Windsor Lions Club, and this is the Sonoma County Bicycle Coalition. They have a bicycle that has a smoothie. We make smoothies on the back of the bicycle by pedaling your own smoothies. So, and we partner with the Windsor Lions, who give away the helmets each year. So that's all a big, huge part of being great for the community. We also have live music. Oh, not these guys, but aren't they cute? We have local bands that come and entertain us. Unfortunately, they're not able to come right now during COVID, but that will change soon, because it's already welcome in restaurants and things. So we're coming up next. We are right now, just to speak on that, we are right now considered an essential business. We're just like a grocery store. So we've been open since May this year. We did have to open a month later. Okay, so what is a certified grower, and what, question?
Yeah, Tony, Gina, we do have one question.
Okay.
Related to the COVID issue. One of the girls asked, what other changes besides masks have you had to make during COVID? Do the vendors have to be spaced out differently? Can you address that?
Yes, so initially they had to be 10 feet apart. We have what we call protocols that are issued to us by the health department. and they list what is necessary. And I have to fill in our name, all the information, and swear that I will follow that protocol, sign it, send it back. So initially, our first protocol was 10 feet apart, and we had to have the perimeter mapped. The perimeter was taped off, and we have 3 entrances where you could come in and out, and we couldn't have more than 100 people in the market at one time. And so each entrance was responsible for about 30 people, 35 people. So once they got to that point, they would close their entrance. Then in June, we went to our second protocol. And on the second protocol, we now we're able to get rid of our perimeter, but we still have volunteers at each entrance spraying hand sanitizer, making sure everybody has masks, and welcoming people. And just, you know, they're just a neat community people that help out. And our booths are now 6 feet apart. So we've gone from 10 feet down to 6 feet, and we were able to welcome more vendors. At this time, we're full, and there are a few of our vendors in the past that have not been able to join us yet. So we're trying to get as many vendors in as possible. Other than that, masks are required in the market, and social distancing. So when you're in line, we started out with these circles. They've kind of faded over time, but people are really good now about following. There can be one person at the booth, and then there can be people on either side of the booth 6 feet apart waiting to step in and be the next person. The lines don't go straight out from the booth because we have to keep the main aisles open. So
related to that, there's a subsequent question, Tina. The question was it originally hard on the market or the vendors, and did the market or the vendors lose revenue due to the late start with COVID?
Well, we did miss a month of business. So yeah, it was financially affected the farmers and the market. And we can't have our Thursday night farmers market at all because it welcomes people and it just draws too big of a crowd. So we financially lost there, and all of the farmers financially lost, especially food people and the sound man, for example. It's pretty sad. But I think that answered your question.
Yes,
So,
yes. And then we have one more question in the chat box. The question is, where do you find your vendors, or do they find you? And are you ever short or low on vendors, or do you always have a good supply of them?
We never say no to a local farmer, first off, unless they're actually selling something, one thing that we maybe already have 2 or 3 other people who are selling that one thing, but it's very rare. And I've honestly, since 2012, never had to do it. Crafters, I could get hundreds if I wanted. They call every day, all day. We'll get more into the kinds of products, but that's the one thing. Farmers, yes. Processed foods, yes. They call us all the time. Every once in a while, I'll lose a type of farmer, like somebody who does pasta, fresh pasta, or somebody who makes yogurt, or somebody who grows citrus, for example. Citrus is hard in Sonoma County. That's why we have to pull farmers from other areas. And I will go to other markets and talk to people and try to see if they're available on Sundays for our market. So there's an abundance of vendors except for farmers, and we'll take everyone we can get. So let's talk about that. What is a certified grower? Let's see if I have the form up here I wanted to show you. Did we read that? Agriculture is the nation's largest employer. Did you know that? Isn't that crazy? With more than 23 million jobs. Sonoma County, we need agriculture because I wish I knew the exact figure, but a good percentage of our employees in Sonoma County are agriculture. 17% of the civilian workforce involved in some facet of American agriculture. Pretty cool. Okay, here is what they call a certified producer certificate. So each vendor has to go to the ag department, which is run by the CDFA, State of California, see up the corner there, Department of Food and Agriculture. And these people have to state that they grow blackberries. They have 300 foot rows, and they produce about 50 boxes between June and November. Strawberries, this is a huge strawberry vendor down in Watsonville, and they're organic. I do have 2 other people that carry strawberries in Windsor, and they're local, but they're not organic. And so strawberries, it's very important to be organic. It's one of the ones that can easily hurt us by not being organic. So that's why I bring these people from Watsonville. They have 2 acres, and they have an abundance of strawberries that they bring, and blackberries. This next one, now this is somebody who's got like 10 pages. He's a local farmer, 3rd generation, down off of Stony Point Road. He has 7 pages of things that he brings to market at any given time. So not all the same at the same time, but look how many different, he's got 4 different kinds of cabbage. He's got 5 different kinds of carrots. And you have to put the variety, how many rows you sell, how many rows you're planting, and how much production you expect. And the ag department, because we're certified, they go out to the ranches and confirm that that's really happening. And then they come to the market and they check the certificate and they check what's on the table, and it has to match. If anything that they're selling on the table is not on their certificate, then they could have bought it somewhere and tried to sell it. You have to grow everything yourself. The market goes even further in that everything at the market is either grown or produced by the person that you're talking to. So let's see, let me get to this. Whoops, shoot. I just messed up and hit the wrong arrow. Darn it. Can't see my other arrow over here. Come on. I hit the, there. Oh, shoot. Okay. Sorry, I hit the wrong arrow and went back. So this is a copy of our application, and I think this will really help you understand the different kinds of vendors that are welcome in a certified farmers market, or that we love to have at a certified farmers market. So everybody fills this top part out. The ag people who are certified fill this part out. Then there's what we call non-certified ag producers. Those are people who can still be part of the certified farmers market, but they have items in their products that are not certifiable. So we're talking about meat, eggs, cheeses, olive oils. You can have a farm and grow all your olives and bring the olive oil to market, but because it's been processed, it's not certifiable, but it's still an ag product. So that's a little bit confusing for some people, but it's a very small handful of our vendors: meat, cheese, jams, no, not jams and jellies, oils. So then, and then it could also include someone who's a farmer who makes something out of their products, like honey. So they're still considered as certified ag producer, but because they make everything in their product themselves. Non-certified may have some other seasonings and things, other parts like cheeses have garlic and veggies and things like that in them. So they're non-certified ag. Then you get down to what we call the community, what I told you was a community event. The community event is made up of processed foods, which is jams, jellies, baked goods, food vendors, which is the hot food and meals that you can buy on site, and then the artists and the crafters. So people fill this part, they hop down and they fill this artist and crafters part, and they're all set. Here is a list of everything that is offered at the Windsor Market. Just quickly go through local fruits, veggies, eggs, a fresh fishmonger. Every market is not a market without one, I'm telling you. They bring so many people to the market. We have pasture-raised pork that's 1 mile away. We have local artisan cheeses, curds, butter. They're organic. Honey. We'll get into this when we get into the pictures. There's so much there on that list. I can always send that to you. Here's our meat farmer. He's only 1 mile from the market. and he does all these different kinds of sausages, hams. He's actually a pork vendor. He does what they call sliced jowls. I thought that you might be interested in it. It's kind of like a bacon, but it's made from the under part of the pig, and it's kind of like pork belly too, which is real trendy and hot right now in restaurants. Fresh eggs can be sold. Then we also have experts like Rick Kraut, who's an expert on garlic, and people come from all over to learn about garlic. So there's so much to learn. We have one of our farmers, he's selling produce and he's sharpening knives. Gary Blasi, he's a local farmer. This is Katie, and she is a stay-at-home mom, and she makes pies. So she would be under the processed department. We have bagels, fresh breads. Those are all processed foods. And then these are considered processed because they're made beforehand. Mushroom jerky, we have mushroom jerky, mushroom tea. It's wonderful. Let's see, let's just keep going. Vinegars, jams, and jellies. This is Barbara and Frank. This is kind of interesting. This is not something you see very often at a market. They actually grow their corn and make their own polenta, which is really awesome. They make their own hot sauces. They're located right about 3 miles from the farmer's market. They sometimes ride their bicycle with more inventory when they sell out. They also do all kinds of dried peppers and smoked peppers. So those are still part of the farmer's section because the farmer did it and made it all himself out of his own products. Vinegars, flavored vinegars, and then our hot food, tamales. Green grocer is really great he walks around and buys everything from the market and makes you fresh burritos and sandwiches and BLTs and grilled cheeses, all out of products that you saw being sold right there at the market, which is really cool. We have a barbecue guy. You can take home your own barbecue, kettle corn, fresh kettle corn, candy vendors. Those are all considered processed. Coffee vendor would be a food vendor. And then we get into our crafts, all handmade by the person who's selling them. No resale is allowed. Look at this lady's cool jewelry. She makes them out of leather and all different kinds of, she uses a different. This is also considered a craft vendor. She's spiritual, and she's there and she helps people with different kinds of stones and prisms and emeralds, and the kids really love it. Painted rocks, yard art. And this is a project we had where we made these t-shirts, and with a muddy handprint over your heart, you pledge your allegiance to the farmers. And we went out and taught all the children at all the local schools about cooking. We ate things raw, and then we cooked them, and we ate them cooked, and they learned the difference in flavors, and they all got one of these t-shirts that supported our local farmers. That was really cool. This is just a little tidbit. If you stopped spending money at the grocery store next week, they would never even notice, I bet. If you took a small fraction of that money and spent it at the farmer's market, you would help a local farmer pay the rent. You might even save his farm. So it's crazy. This is, I know I was gonna, you know what, we should probably take a break because this is getting into what some of my favorite things, so.
Okay, I do have some questions for you, Tina.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so one of the questions, this is a good question. How does the farmer's market, you mentioned it's a nonprofit, how does the farmer's market make money if they are not the ones selling things that the farmers are?
So that's a good question. We collect booth fees, like rent, and that is our sole form of income. So that's why it's so important for the market to be open. If we're not open, then we don't have enough money to open the next time, you know. Luckily, we had a really wonderful year last year, and we had a good savings built up that can help us this year. because the Thursday night farmers markets actually was 38% of our income. So we lost that. But yes, we charge booth fees. We also charge a $25 admin fee for signing up for the market. And that guarantees them that they have a spot every week. And if you come every week, you get the same spot. So that's all part of that.
Okay, great. And then what does the farmers market spend money on?
So we spend it on everything we can. We don't want any money left, because we do special events, and I'll show you some of our special events in a little bit. But we do free cooking classes. We bring in big name chefs. We have tastings, and we go out and we buy from. We don't expect the farmers to give us everything. We buy from the farmers everything that we need to give apple tastings, garlic tastings, tomato tastings. Like when I was talking about going out to the kids, we took tons of vegetables, and the farmers even went with me, and we gave the kids each a piece of produce to take home. And I buy t-shirts. We buy t-shirts with our names on it, and we sell them for very reasonable. So we don't make any money there. We just invest in the community. We invest, we give a lot of gift certificates to local nonprofits for their auctions.
That's awesome.
So really, we're collecting from the farmers, and we're spending it on marketing and connection with the community.
That's really nice that you put it right back into the community. That's amazing. So here's another question. Did the fires affect the farmers market, and if so, how?
Well, 2 years ago, we had 2 farmers whose whole farm was destroyed, and their family homes. So it was difficult. Both of them have not replanted yet. They, are struggling. Farming is not a big money maker. They do it because they love it. They do it because they love digging in the dirt, and they love feeding people with healthy solutions, healthy choices. So this year, it hasn't really affected us. We did close we closed the day it was lightning. It was lightning on Sunday morning, and we did have to close that one day. But other than that, it hasn't affected us. The air quality hasn't affected everybody. They've shown up for the market because we're wearing masks anyway. So it's kind of different this year compared to a couple years ago. The other fires did affect, we were closed for part of the time because the town was shut down, so.
That's a great answer. And so the next question I have, and this is interesting too, the girls are coming up with some great questions.
Cool.
How do some farmers market use plastic packaging? For example, if you buy 2 pounds of cherries, how do you encourage your farmers to reduce plastic usage and packaging in the farmers market?
Great question. I'm actually on the Waste Less Windsor task force. And because we had a lot of garbage on Thursday nights, for example, because of all the food, the town of Windsor is right on top of this. They already have ordinances for no styrofoam, no plastic above. So when you turn the cup over, in the little recycling symbol, there's numbers. A red Solo cup, for example, is a 7, which is very high, thick plastic, takes forever to decompose. The ones that are allowed in Sonoma County have a 1, very thin plastic, same as what we have on a water bottle. Those are all 1s. And unfortunately, there's nobody in Sonoma County who can recycle plastic right now. I mean, a compost plastic, even if it's made from a food product like corn, there is nobody composting plastic. So we have to recycle it. But on our Thursday night markets, I will say, because we have volunteers at every garbage can educating people, 28 volunteers, we have reduced our garbage that goes to the landfill down to like less than 50%. It was like 58%, I think, or 48%. It was almost 90% of the garbage that was thrown away on Thursday nights was going into the landfill. And just over 2 or 3 years, we've been able to reduce that. We created a metal cup that everybody can buy, and they can buy all their beverages. They get a discount on their beverages if they use that metal cup. Another thing that I've done on Sundays, because we don't really have a lot of waste, everybody pretty much takes everything home. But what I did do, I didn't like the plastic bags that everybody was using. So compostable bags are expensive. Compostable anything is expensive. So the market bought 2 cases of compostable bags, and we bought 2 cases of wooden silverware. And we give the wooden silverware to all the restaurants on Sundays. Can't really do it on Thursdays this year, but on Sundays. And then we also have metal silverware there if people want to use it. And then we go take it home and wash it. We have a bucket. But the compostable bags we sell to the farmers by the roll. They get 800 bags for $40. It costs the market almost $50, but it's just worth the little extra gift to let them save some money. So yeah, we sell compostable bags, and we do tons of recycling and garbage sorting right on site.
Thank you.
Do we want to move to the next step?
Yes,
Next
please.
section. Okay, so this is all about local. As it pertains to food, how many food miles? So there is a couple different people's feelings on it, because Sonoma County can't grow everything. We don't grow big, beautiful citrus. We don't grow giant peaches very often. Our peppers don't get as big as the ones do down in the valley. So we do have to bring farmers from other areas to fill the holes of things that our shoppers need to eat local, to eat fresh. So if you talk to Slow Food, which is a really fabulous organization to do some research on, they say that local is 150 miles, which is about some of the people that bring the strawberries from Santa Cruz. And then they're on Wikipedia, they say that it's only 50 miles. So everybody has their own, there's not any written in stone rule. At the farmers, for me, and when I'm choosing my vendors, and I'm choosing a good selection of vendors so that we have the largest selection we can, that's what I'm going for. I go local first, never say no to a local farmer, and then I fill a need. If we need organic strawberries, I bring them. If we need this beautiful olive oil from the Cape Valley, which grows the most beautiful olives, then we bring in olive oil from the Cape Valley, which is over by Chico. Anyway, why is eating local important? So there's a few questions here. Why is eating local important? Why is eating local good for you? And why is eating local good for the community? I have a little list of reasons why. I don't think I have any more. What's next here? Yeah, okay, so locally grown food tastes better, it looks better, and it's better for you. So that answers a lot of those questions. And the reason why is the crops, when you eat something local, it was picked that day. It's picked at their peak. They go out into the farm and they look for only the ripe stuff. When you buy produce at the grocery stores, it's traveled from another farm somewhere else, and it's been picked before it was ripe. Tomatoes especially are picked almost green, and they ripen in their travels, and that's why some tomatoes, they're also overwatered in commercial tomato farming, so they don't have really good flavor. When a tomato struggles and doesn't get the water it needs, that's when it tastes the best. The same with our vineyards and our wine grapes. If you know anything about winemaking, the grapes that struggle always taste the best because the flavor is more intense. They look better because they're picked fresh and they didn't get thrown in a box, bounced around in a truck, and bruised. So they look better, and they're better for you because the shorter the time that the produce travels from the farm to your table, the shorter, the less nutrients. They already know that by the time, as soon as you pick something, the nutrients start leaving. Another great fact about that is the age of vegetables. So like baby vegetables have more nutrition than an adult vegetable because as it grows in the field, it also loses nutrition. Another big trend that's been going on for quite a while now is sprouted vegetables, microgreens, they call it. And those are baby vegetables that are just this big and they just look like a sprout. They are 8 times more nutritious than eating the adult vegetable. That's how much nutrition gets lost as a vegetable gets bigger. And then after you pick it and put it in a truck and transport it to you, it's lost a lot of its nutrition. So eating locals is better for you that way. Another reason that local is so good is diversity. And this is a really important one for me, especially in meats, because when you have a diversified farm, you might go and you look at the tomato seeds and you say, ooh, I'm going to grow this one. I'm going to grow that mortgage lifter. I'm going to grow the little tiny grapes. I'm going to grow all these different varieties. In commercial farming, they only grow the ones that grow the fastest, that get ripe, that grow the biggest, quickest, and that are least affected by insecticides. That's what GMOs is all about. That's a whole nother class. I'm sorry, we could get into that, but you want a farm that has all different kinds of varieties, and they're keeping that variety alive by being able to save the seeds and plant them again later. Seeds that you grow, like that you get at Walmart or that you buy commercially, burpee seeds, those are all GMO seeds, and they won't resprout. They'll always resprout another seed like that they used as their base. So we don't want that. We want everything to be as fresh and as unique and diverse as possible. With meat, I'll give you a classic example. I was talking to a man at the Sonoma County Fair, and he grows heritage cows. And heritage cows are breeds that are no longer grown anymore because their meat isn't they don't have as much meat on their bones, or their milk doesn't have as much butter fat or high fat, or they don't make enough milk. So then what's happened is all our milk is made by Holsteins because Holsteins can make the fastest, most amount of milk on the least amount of feed. And what would happen if the Holstein species, I guess, the Holsteins got a virus, like we've had mad cow disease. What if it affected only one variety, like Holsteins? We would lose our milk supply very quickly. So what this man does is he raises heritage cows, and if that ever happened, you could crossbreed the Holsteins with the heritage cows, which are immune to a lot of viruses because they're like the worker natural heritage breeds that never have been contaminated with breeding. So we could save our milk. Another one is turkeys. I hope this is appropriate. All turkeys are artificially inseminated because Americans, well, all people like a lot of breast meat. So they want the turkeys to have big breasts, and then they're no longer able to get pregnant on their own. They have to be artificially inseminated. So if we lost all of our turkeys, we'd have to go back to a heritage turkey or a turkey that's wild, breed it with our turkeys to get our turkey population back. So that's why that's really important to me. That's scary. Local food is safe. When you see that farmer, look at there's Duncan there, and even though he's got a mask on, he's looking right at me, and I trust him because he grew those mushrooms, and I know that he's not going to hurt me. And we don't know sometimes what we get from commercially grown produce. Local food also supports local families. The wholesale prices that farmers get for their products are low, often near the cost of production. But when they sell direct to the farmer, there's no middleman, and they're able to get the retail price. So they're growing it, and instead of selling it to a wholesaler, and then the price goes up. So we're saving, and you know what? When you go to a farmer and you make friends with them and you see them all the time, they put an extra tomato in your bag. This man always gives you more mushrooms than you buy if you're a regular. It's just a neat experience, and that's the biggest powers, I believe. It also preserves our landscapes, our working landscape. If we didn't have farms, we would just have more development. So it preserves the diversity of our landscape. We have some ag properties, we have suburbs, we have rural, we have a good selection. Do we have any questions about local before I go on to when you cook? Oh, actually, I could answer that question. When you cook, do you consciously choose local foods? Yes, I do. As much as I possibly can. It's called eating seasonally, and it's very important. You know, when it's wintertime, I don't eat tomatoes, or I eat the ones that I put in the freezer, and I'll show you a recipe for that. Any questions on local?
We do have a question. You mentioned baby vegetables versus full-grown vegetables, and the question was, how do you know if a vegetable is a baby?
Because it's just tiny. You know, if you go out in your zucchini patch and you see some that are like, you know, this long, they're so cute, and they have the little big old bloom sticking out of the end of it, that bloom is helping it draw sun to get bigger. And if you can pick it as a baby, and you can stuff that bloom even, and with cheeses and stuff, and eat it. But the next day you go out there, that little baby is going to be this big. And then the next day it'll be, you know what I mean? The zucchinis grow 6 inches a day, I think. Some of them can grow 6 inches a day. So you have to be conscious of it. That's why microgreens and baby vegetables are more expensive, because they take more care in picking and more diligence in being out there every day and getting them when they're babies.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
That's it right now.
Okay, so yes, I cook locally. And what are some of my favorites? This mushroom guy right here, I buy mushrooms, or he gives them to me. Sometimes he won't let me, and I have to like throw money in his cash box because I say, you're here to do business, not to give me food. So anyway, he is awesome. He grows the best mushrooms in, I don't know anybody else who grows better mushrooms than him in all of California, at least for sure. He sells to almost every single fine restaurant in Sonoma County. So his name is even on a lot of menus, Duncan's mushroom, sauteed mushrooms, Duncan's. He does shiitakes, the biggest, meatiest shiitakes you will ever have. Don't buy a dried shiitake, get his fresh ones and dry them yourself. Or with shiitakes, you break the stem off, and I put them in a little bag and I dry them. And then I use those to make stock, because they make the most unbelievable umami stock with shiitake mushrooms. He does portobellos. He does the little, you can see there, he's got the little brown creminis, and then he's got the big white ones. And then sometimes I get the little white ones from him and make marinated mushrooms. It's real fun. Another one of my favorites is this right here. And these are really good for you. This is fermented food. Fermented food is the biggest thing right now. It's very trendy, and it gives you a healthy gut. Sauerkraut. They have pickled peppers, pickled onion, pickled mushrooms, pickled artichoke hearts. If you have some people are even drinking apple cider vinegar because it's fermented, or kombucha is a fermented product because it gives you a healthy gut and helps your digestion. So I love to buy here's their samples. Isn't that pretty? I just love their sample tray. She's got the pickled peppers, pickled beets, her little sauerkraut, pickled mushrooms, pickled zucchini, which is killer. And then she makes like a little kimchi. And then the top one is pickled shredded carrots, and they are so good on hot dogs. That's one of my favorite things. I buy at least 2 things from them. They're all natural, raw, fermented, probiotic artisan foods. I didn't get to that about artisan because artisan could be anything. Artisan could be artisan bread. Artisan could be because artisan could be cheese. The word artisan really means that they made everything themselves and they developed the recipes themselves, and they're the artisan of that product, but it has really nothing to do with category in any way. So I didn't get to that before, I'm sorry. Another thing I always buy is these pumpkin muffins right here. They are unbelievable. That she sometimes does them with carrot, zucchini, or pumpkin. And she also has, these are all gluten-free, blueberry, gluten-free chocolate, and their scones are unbelievable too. Baked goods, so they're an artisan baked goods, everything themselves. I also always buy fresh lettuce, and I always buy seafood from Santa Rosa Seafood. Their greens are very important, and he's got crab at crab season, smoked salmon, and then I usually at the end of every day when it's really hot, I buy this iced blue mushroom tea from Sporgy Mushrooms. They make mushroom jerky. They're vegan. They're a vegan couple of chefs. They make mushroom jerky. They make mushrooms seasonings. They grind up all these smoked mushrooms and you can shake it on top of things. And they make mushroom tea. This one is made with blue lotus, and it's really good for your brain. Blue lotus can cause lucid dreams, which just helps you sleep well, and it's very thirst quenching. So I always have a mushroom tea, believe it or not, mushroom iced tea. Okay, so this is where, when you cook, what are some of your favorites? At the farm, you have many folks who sell local products. Do they primarily sell local, or do they primarily sell local, or do they ship? Not very many of our vendors ship. Everybody sells local. Now, I would say the jams and jelly people, and we used to have Cookie Take-A-Bite, but now she's so big and ships all over the world that she doesn't have to come to farmers markets anymore. That's one thing farmers markets that are good for, is helping businesses get established. We've had many vendors that, and even restaurateurs that have started at the market, cooking in the back of their car, truck on the road there in their booth, and then they save enough money to start their own businesses. So, but rarely do we do much shipping unless it's processed food. What month of the year is the farmers market open? I think I've mentioned that we're open from April through December, the mid-December. How do these types, okay, this is where I wanted to get into the types of foods. Do we have any more questions before I start this next paragraph? Nope, okay. How do the types of foods grow change during this time, and give an example of seasonal? So that's what I was talking about with seasonal vegetables. You eat with your seasons. You eat asparagus in March and April, and that's about it. unless you don't care, and you can buy it at the grocery store from Chile. Chile has a very similar climate to us, so we have a lot of food that comes from Chile that are in our grocery stores. Asparagus and baby potatoes are the first things ready in the season. They're the first produces of the season. So I eat tons of great asparagus. This farmer is over by Fairfield, and they have 400 acres of asparagus, and they even have white asparagus, which is, they cover it with black and make it grow with no sun, and it keeps it white, and it's a delicacy, a very expensive delicacy. Cherries are the first fruit, and they have a very short season. Our cherry farmers only there 3 or 4 weeks. So they're you know, just right at the beginning. Then come all the stone fruits: plums, peaches, nectarines, apricots. Cherry is a stone fruit too. It's the first one, and then everything else follows after. Stone meaning it has a seed in the middle. Those are called stone fruits. Look, this farmer sells, they're from Modesto, and they've been with the market ever from the beginning. And they have 5 different kinds of plums. And it is unbelievable. I think I have a picture here of my plum tarts I made. Yeah, I made these plum tarts. And I just used a ready-made pie crust, and I made a beautiful design of all the plums, just sliced fresh with the skins and everything on them. And this one at the bottom is actually multicolored, and the one at the top is all their best dandy. It's called Jim Dandy plum, which is their best flavor, sweetest. And then I just make like a you know, butter and sugar and flour. I make like a cream that I pour over the top and bake it. It's that simple. So I bake a lot of pies in the spring. Then now coming out now are apples. Just starting will be apples and corn. Corn is one that farmers, it's hard to plant because the little plants are so delicate, and any little bird that flies by or gopher can dig up a bunch of corn that quick. So one thing I wanted to talk about corn, because it's one of those things that you don't pick it. My grandpa used to always say, get your water boiling on the stove before you go pick your corn. So you don't ever want to buy corn that's been sitting in the grocery store for even a day or two, because corn is made up of solid sugar inside each kernel. And every hour, every minute that after it's picked, that sugar turns to starch. If you've ever eaten an old ear of corn, it's real like potato-y and pasty. And that's because it's an old ear of corn. So you want to, the corn is probably, corn and strawberries are the #1 thing that you should be buying at farmers markets, because you just can't get it any fresher, and that's the way you need it. So I love corn. Corn grows year round. I mean, not year round, I'm sorry. Corn grows in the summer and fall, and the farmers have to plant it like 3 rows, then 3 rows, then 3 rows. So it causes a lot of work, because otherwise you'll get your whole 5 acres ripe at the same time, and you don't want that. So you plant 3 rows. Like even in our home farm, we might plant 1 row and then plant 1 row 2 weeks later. And then that way you have corn for weeks. This is a beautiful display of heirloom tomatoes. Something you can learn, tomatoes grow, well, the ones that are burpees, and they call them hybrids. Those are all the kind of factory-made or man-made varieties. Those those are all the ones that are grown commercially. They grow the fastest and the best, and they're all ripe early. Heirlooms, which are all our natural seeds that you can trade with friends and buy online and from tomato farmers, they take a little bit longer, and some people think they're ugly. I think they're prettier, but they have, you know, weird spots and funny little shapes and splits and things, because look at this one's growing another little tomato out of the top. But one thing you learn about heirloom tomatoes is the darker they are, the more acid and the more flavor. The lighter they are, less acid. So people who can't handle acidic foods can eat like a white tomato or a light yellow tomato. It's much better for their digestion. These big dark purple ones, those are the best, sliced with caprese salad or over a big plate of tomatoes with vinaigrette drizzled over the top. And then of course these big red ones are great for burgers and sandwiches and stuff. And let's see what else we've got here.
Hey, Tina, we have a couple questions.
Okay.
The first question is, somebody said that when they buy store-bought tomatoes, sometimes they smell or taste like fish. Is that due to the fertilizer?
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. I use fish emulsion. I love fish emulsion, but I don't believe commercial people use fish emulsion. They commercially produced tomatoes are picked almost green, and then they put like a wax. I believe it could be something to do with this processing. They have a wax coating on them so that they last longer. So it's always good to wash or polish off that. Apples also get it. They put like a wax coating on it, real thin, almost like you can't even know it's there. It's just a thin layer, and it protects them from bruises and things, and helps them because tomatoes really, once you put them in the refrigerator, tomatoes shouldn't be in the refrigerator. They lose their flavor. So they have to let them ripen during transportation. So the smell could be either, they also, some companies even gas tomatoes to ripen them. So they'll arrive from China, let's say, green, and then they go into these big factories and they gas them to bring them to red so that they can send them out to the grocery stores.
Oh, thanks.
Isn't that crazy that we eat that food?
I know, it is crazy. That's good for people to know, though. The next question is, if you have a homemade kombucha recipe, can you send it to us afterwards?
Sure, I'll find one. We have one of our ladies at the market makes the, she's not there anymore, but she recently is making kombucha crocks that you can make your own kombucha. It's fun. You can make them out of strawberries. I've had people make a strawberry. It's always good to put some ginger. Yeah, so I'll find a good recipe for that. Let me make myself.
That would be great. And then somebody wanted to know, what about frozen corn? If corn is picked and immediately frozen, do you still have the same problem as aged corn?
No, you're right. Great question. If it's frozen fresh, just like Del Monte and S&W and all those canned goods, they bring that corn in right that day. They shuck it from the shuck and then they freeze dry it. And so that's why frozen corn and frozen and canned, not the ones with like a syrup or anything, but just the plain fresh niblets, they're pretty fresh, and the flash freeze drying has stopped them from the sugar from changing to starch. So it's only on fresh corn.
Fantastic. And one last question before you get to go on. Is your farmer's market wheelchair accessible, and are most farmers markets wheelchair accessible?
Yes, they are. The whole entire park has a perimeter that is has wheelchair entrances and exits. So no matter where they come from, they can find a place to get off the sidewalk and on into the market, and the market is flat. So yes, we're wheelchair accessible, and I would hope that every farmer's market is. I have attended one down in the Country Mart in Larkspur. Is a really fun hipster-like farmer's market, and it's out on the dock. And big planks of wood, so it's uneven, and there would be caution, but I think it would still be accessible. Great question. Is that any others?
That was the last one.
Okay, so now we're at fall produce, things that are ripe in September and October, and this is one of my favorite new things. This is a Fuyu persimmon, and you may not be old enough to, most of you may not be old enough to have tried to eat a normal persimmon, and it was such a horrible flavor. You said, I'm never eating a persimmon again. Well, there's this Fuyu persimmon now that is edible like an apple. You can see I took a bite out of here, and I have a really great recipe for a spinach salad with red onion and these sliced, and like candied walnuts or candied nuts and a vinaigrette over the top. It's just So good, and they're so sweet. And you can, when you're in the, some like Whole Foods and Oliver's and things has them sliced and dried, and they're the best snack, is the dried persimmons. The other persimmon, the hachiu, it's the big one that's kind of shaped like a heart. It's like a pointy on the bottom. These are flat and round. The pointy one, what they're so great for is that you wait until they get really soft and you clean the inside out and you make cookies and breads and cakes and things. They're not good to eat fruit, the other one, but this one is, and it's a big deal in the fall with the apples and pomegranates, persimmons, and in the fall we get dried fruit too. And there's cauliflower, broccoli, all your cruciferous, they're called cruciferous vegetables. That's cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage. I think I have a picture of Minhee here. There's Minhee. She's one of our farmers, Minhee Hill Gardens, and she's from Korea. And she takes these giant, she mostly doesn't sell her cabbage. She makes kimchi. And she makes these giant heads of cabbage, and which are ripe in the fall and the winter, and she turns it into this wonderful kimchi. Kimchi is a little bit spicy, but it also is a fermented vegetable and really good for your digestion. Also in the fall, our farmers make wreaths and fall bouquets, which are real fun. Let's see, is this going on to the next question? How is it possible? Are they using? Oh, are there any local foods that are always available? That's what this answers. Yes, strawberries are almost always available. There's just a small window sometimes when it's frost, where strawberries can't grow in the frost season in the dead of winter. But most farmers appreciate that farmers markets are closed for a few months because that gives them time to reset and get their farmers market ready for the next season. So these are the certified strawberries from Santa Cruz, and she sells these big baskets of 3, sometimes 10, sometimes 12, depending on how much she has. And they will be the most flavorful strawberry you'll ever taste. And my mom, ever since I was a kid, always said, Watsonville strawberries are the tastiest. And we literally went over to Oliver's. I hate to do this, but we went over to Oliver's and we bought a basket, and it was $8.99 for a basket of organic strawberries. And here, these, you get 3 baskets for $12 at a farmer's market. So I could do a whole class on the myth that farmer's markets cost more money, because they really don't, if you really do the shopping. So strawberries almost all year. Radishes, now this is something good if any of you want to try farming. Don't start with carrots, because carrots are hard. They have to have dirt that is soft about that deep, otherwise they just grow and they hit bottom. So don't grow carrots. Radishes, you could have radishes like this in like a month from the time you plant the seeds. Just put them right in the ground, throw them out there, put dirt on top, keep sprinkling them with water, don't water them too hard, and you'll have these beautiful radishes. So radishes and greens like this, mustard greens, these are mustard greens, kale, those all almost year round. They actually can be year round. This is an Asian farmer that sells in Santa Rosa, and his produce and his vegetables, he's actually Vietnamese. They call it, he's a Hmong farmer, and Hmong farmers have a way of instilling so much moisture into their produce. I don't know how they do it, but if you ever find one at a farmer's market, buy their greens and their broccoli. Unbelievable. He also sells peanuts. But all these greens are pretty much available year round. They don't use greenhouses. What they do, they plant in the same fields, but they put what they call hoop houses. And hoop houses are just like little hoops they can stick in the ground, and they stick it in the ground, and they stick it in the ground all along the row. And then they take white rolls of white plastic, and they cover the top, not black, because it has to be white or clear. White's the best. And they cover all those hoops, and it keeps the frost from hurting their greens, because that's the only thing that would stop greens, would be frost. let's see. This is one of my favorites. This is chard. This is rainbow chard. It comes in all different colors. This also is almost year round. Let's see. So they don't use greenhouses. There is one farmer in Sonoma County, I should mention, who grows hothouse tomatoes. And she's very well known, and all the restaurants buy from her in the winter. So there is one good hothouse farmer in Sonoma County, but most people just use the hoop houses. And then I'm at the next phase where how do you celebrate the different growing seasons at the farmers market, pumpkin festivals, tomato festivals. This is something that is our opening season. And you can see right at the beginning of our market, we have the Windsor has their big Earth Day and Wellness Festival. So we're a big part of that with cooking classes for kids. And the kids, we take them to the farmers and we give them these little market bucks, and they get to buy the produce that they want to cook with. And then we take it back to the gazebo pavilion where we're cooking, and they get to cook the produce they went and bought from the farmer. They get to meet the farmer. It's pretty exciting. Then also in April, which we didn't get to do this year, is we started doing Easter Sunday, and we have an Easter brunch, and we welcome 2 restaurants to come, and we put tablecloths, and the garden club came and gave us centerpieces with eggs, Easter grass with eggs, and everybody eats out on the town green with their families for Easter. We did that 2 years ago, and it was really successful, so we will continue that as soon as that is possible. Then our next celebration, I always have something for the kids to do. We decorated eggs that day too on Easter. On Mother's Day, we have tea and cookie tasting. I do ask our bakeries to each donate 100 bite-sized cookies or chocolate. And then I collect all these old cups, and everybody walks around the market shopping with a teacup and of tea and cookies. We also give, the local florist gives free roses that day, and the garden club is there, and they pick all these flowers out of their gardens, and they help the kids make these little arrangements to take home for their mother for Mother's Day. They do the same thing on Father's Day with succulents. So we love the Windsor Garden Club. Here, these 2 little girls made these darling little arrangements for their mom. The dad brought them down, and they take them home for her for Mother's Day. In June is our birthday. That's my mom and my daughter. This was our 13th anniversary. We always cut a cake, about 100 pieces, and we take a piece out to every vendor, and any local regular customers who see us say, "Oh, can I have a piece?" But this year I actually gave all the vendors a cupcake in a sealed container for our birthday to commemorate it. Also on our birthday, we have chef demonstrations. We have a really great relationship with John Ash. This is Chef John Ash, was one of the founder of California cuisine back in the 70s. He was the first one to really talk about eating from the farm and eating fresh. And he still teaches classes, and he's taught a cooking class at our birthday celebration for about 14 years. I just took a break recently for health reasons, but he just recently gave his private cookbook collection to the market, and we're going to use it somehow for a fundraiser someday. So he loves us. And we also have chefs like, this is Melissa Yank. She just won the Holiday Baking Championship on Food Network, and she's one of our bakeries, Quail and Condor Bakery, and we hoping that she just had her 2nd child. This little boy is already 4 years old, and she's got a little, no, he's 3, I guess, and she's got a little 1-year-old. She's going to be doing some chef demonstrations, maybe with John Ash, which I think would be fun. The young, this is also a chef from Cafe Citi over in Kenwood, and he taught everybody how to make fresh, see on the table here, he taught everybody how to make fresh mozzarella, which is so fun to make. In July, we have a Father's Day, and the Kiwanis come and have a big breakfast, and we have a tractor show, and the kids get to climb on the new tractors, and they get to look and ooh and ah on of all the old tractors. We also have a collection of vintage farming equipment, and people have to try to guess what it was used for. It's called the What the Heck Is It game that I started back in 2012. And we have grandpas and dads and kids come and they all learn about old farming equipment. In July, we have our zucchini festival, and we have the biggest zucchini contest, and they win $50. This girl won last year. There's Rick Kraut. He won this year with a 21-pound zucchini. Like I said, they grow like so many pounds, 3 pounds every day, I think. We also used to, we didn't get to this year, but we have a veggie contest, and we have the kids come. We fill the table full of vegetables and fruits, and they make veggie art. And there's this little boy, he made this darling, where is his monkey? This is his monkey right here, he made out of a bell pepper. We thought that was so awesome. We have the culinary kids come and judge it, and he wins and gets $25. And sometimes we have a free bicycle, that they get a free bicycle. There's a winner. And then we also do what we call the zucchini car races in July at the Zucchini Festival. And this is my husband here. He helps the kids make cars. They bring parts, or they can bring a car all made themselves, and we race them down this track. It's a gravity track, falls, and this little girl, she gets a little trophy. We have trophies. In August, we have the Tomato Festival, and see, we buy all these tomatoes, and we also go around to every restaurant in town and we buy their salsa, and we have a salsa tasting, and you can go to each restaurant, all the taquerias especially, and taste all the different kinds of salsas, and often they're different based on the region of Mexico that they're from. So a Oaxacan salsa might be different than a Michoacan region salsa. So that's really fun to learn about salsas, taste our local restaurant salsas, and to taste all these different tomatoes. I have the Lions Club and the culinary kids. They spend all day cutting all these tomatoes up for me, and we put them on plates, and we put the most beautiful prize one in the middle so that you can see what it looks like off the vine, and then you taste. We also supply salt. In October, we have our pumpkin jamboree. We have giant pumpkins on display. We do pumpkin carving with our Kids Dig It kids. There's my mom with her giant pumpkin. She is the one that started the giant pumpkin display, and every year we pay local farmers to bring their giant pumpkins. There's what Biggie, that one right there, I think was about 600 pounds. And we let kids, get a good photo op. There's pumpkin carving. This year, we are still going to get the pumpkins, but we're going to give them to everybody to carve at home. And we also have little prize bags because of Halloween fun, because a lot of Rayleigh's likes to give us carving sets and candies. And we also have a scarecrow building where I spend the whole year at yard sales and thrift stores, and I buy old clothes and hats, and you come with your family and you build your own scarecrow to take home. My husband puts together the T-frame to build it on, and you paint your little face and you pick out the clothes and stuff it with A. It's really fun. Won't be able to do that this year. There's a family in there all dressed making their scarecrow. And luckily this all happens the same time as the Scarecrow Days from the Windsor Educational Foundation, and they put this display up that we get to take advantage of, so that's fun. We also have the parade of a pumpkin parade, and whatever band is there that day, the kids all come in their costume, and we parade through the market with the kids in a costume parade. We used to call it the Parade of the Pumpkin Desserts, and we had a lot of local chefs who would bring fancy pumpkin desserts, and we would walk along with those, and then at the end they would set them up on tables and you could buy slices. But that's hard to get local chefs involved right now, so the culinary kids have been doing it with cakes and cookies and things. Here's some games I made, some old country games that we always have free for kids to play. It's Fill a Bushel or Four Pecks. a 4 pecks is in a bushel, so it kind of teaches them a little bit about size. And then we have pumpkin bowling, where they bowl with actual pumpkins. Then at Thanksgiving, we have a free lunch, and we serve about 250 people. All the farmers bring dishes that they make from home. All the food process people, all the vendors bring. It started out as just our own little luncheon, and then it turned into feeding the community and teaching them about how to cook with some of these products. You know, like some people don't know how to cook with spaghetti squash or acorn squash or you know, oysters. I make oyster stuffing each year. We have a couple turkeys. Rayleigh always supplies us with a couple turkeys. And we just show people how to use the produce and the products that are there at the market right that day. We give the recipes away, and you get to go home and you taste it, and you get to go home and make it for your own Thanksgiving. It's always the Sunday before Thanksgiving. And the culinary kids, here's a culinary students helping me do all the serving. This is another little recipe that's really popular that I think all of you could make pretty easily. You take a block of cream cheese and a block of pepper jack, and you slice them, and then you reassemble them next to each other. So you can see it's cheddar cheese, pepper jack, cream cheese, pepper jack, cream cheese. You just take them all apart and reassemble them. So you get 2 out of it. And then you make your own little stir fry of peppers and onions and garlic. And you can add a bottle of really good vinaigrette that you love, and you pour that over the top, and it's a really great, easy appetizer. Fun to make at Christmas time. This is our Kids Dig It Club. They come and they make all the appetizers for our Thanksgiving feast. And these are the little girls that day, and they made these little, there's those good persimmons I was telling you about with cream cheese and mixed with honey, and then a little mint leaf on top. So the kids make all those, and they serve everybody. Our last event of the year is Stone Soup, and that's really pretty much just me. I walk around, and the farmers give me all kinds of produce. Sometimes our customers bring me a bag of carrots or whatever, and we make stone soup for the community. That's on our final farmers market of the year. Everybody shares in a cup of soup made from everything at the market. So that is how we celebrate the different growing seasons at the farmers market. Is there any questions?
We did have a question about what is your favorite event out of all of those events you went through?
Oh my goodness, my favorite. I guess it would have to be the Pumpkin Jamboree, just because there is so much going on. It's our biggest event. I do love Earth Day as well. I love it when the Garden Club is there with their big plant sale, and they come on Earth Day and they come on the Pumpkin Festival. And when they're there, it just makes a lot of stuff happen. A lot of stuff's going on. Kids are playing games. We have cooking classes. I would say the pumpkin. There's a lot of people don't realize, you know, the market goes until December 3rd. Most farmers markets go through sometime in December. And once school starts, people stop coming. A lot of customers stop coming. Our customers drop way down. And, you know, honestly, from September, October, and November, there's more produce ripe in those 3 months than any other time of the year. So those are the times we should be buying the most at the farmers market. So I would encourage all of you to get your families to keep shopping at the farmers markets, at least through November, at least through Thanksgiving. And then you'll take advantage of all the great stuff, because there's tomatoes until Thanksgiving. Look at this beautiful fennel. This is fennel over here. And you just add that to a stir fry. I even have a celery root. You clean all that brown and all that root off, and there's a beautiful white apple of celery under there. And you slice that into a salad. It's so good. Hope that answered that.
That's perfect. That's perfect. That's perfect. Well, did we cover all the questions, Tina?
No, the only thing I'm down to is, do you have a recipe to share? Why is it your favorite? And then there's just a couple little things. Let me just go through the slides, and then we'll be done.
All right, wonderful.
We partner with the Charlie Brown's Christmas Tree Grove. which is another fun activity. And we have the tree lighting, and they allow the farmers market to come with about 7 vendors to feed everybody at the tree lighting. And so we have these beautiful cookies from our local bakery. We have these spiced nuts, and this lady, she's roasting them right there. Fresh roasted nuts, kettle corn, Burton's Bakery. The farmers market makes like a minestrone soup, and I sell cups of soup. Burton's Bakery. Okay, this is the recipe I want to share, and it's egg rolls, and it's really easy, and I think any of the kids could make it. So the first step is to make. I take chicken and I cut it up into tiny little pieces, and carrots. What we call the mirepoix. When you're study cooking, you start with a mirepoix, which is garlic, celery, and onion. That's your mirepoix. Those 3 things. Most all French cooking starts with those 3 things. So I started with garlic, carrots, celery, onion, and then I added little chunks of cooked chicken, and then I also added cut up cabbage, because I was just in my mind, I was thinking, well, what do I see when I bite into an egg roll? And I see cabbage and I see these vegetables. Well, you can use anything you want as long as it's not too liquidy, because you want it to not fall apart. So you make your little stir fry, and then you let that cool. Then you can pre-buy these egg roll wrappers, and you put a little tube of the filling in there. It has to be cool, because you never want to have a hot product and a cool product. In cooking, you never, like if you're stir frying a whole bunch of stuff and then you put a big raw chicken breast in there, immediately that chicken breast can start to grow E. coli. So it needs to be cooked separately and then added together. It's always best to start with the meat and then add the vegetables if you're going to do it that way. But never start with the vegetables and then add the meat. So here we've got our cold filling. And then the next step is you start to roll it. Bring the sides in and you roll them up and you deep fry them, and you come up with your beautiful egg rolls. So I'll share that recipe. The other question was about honey. Some local foods are sourced and packaged to be sold all year long. One example of honey, let me just give you a quick example of a few things. This is a wonderful thing because these are flowers that you can plant that help save our bees. And our bees are at risk of extinction right now. And bees, you know, we wouldn't have anything, we wouldn't have any produce if we didn't have bees because of their pollination. So we want to save our bees for sure. We have honey. This honey is from bees that eat off of blackberry bushes. So the boxes sit right by blackberry bushes. She's also got honey that sits next to clover honey. Clover honey is really good. I like clover honey. Then another great recipe is this honeycomb. Just take a little wheel of or a piece of brie and get it soft and warm and gooey, and then lay this honeycomb on top. Don't put the honeycomb in the microwave because it'll melt the wax part. But you want the wax and the honey and everything just like out of the comb, out of the box, and you lay it on top of that brie, and oh, so good. The other thing that honey people can grow is the honeybee pollen. It's very good for you. It's an all natural creation for honey, and it has lots and lots of healthy purposes. Some specific I can get to. And then we have people who sell their peppers and sell the dried peppers. We have the jams and jellies that can be sold year round. And here's something you can do at home. If you soak orange peels in vinegar for 2 weeks in a sealed mason jar and pour the vinegar in a spray bottle, you can use this for cleaning or for bug spray. It's a natural, and it's great for eliminating ants. So there's a fun little canning thing you can do yourself. This is a recipe that I do every year, and I will send this one to you. This is the best way to put up tomatoes, I feel. I don't really like canning. Canning makes all the vegetables mushy because you have to process the jars in a hot bath until the tops of the jars suck down and lose no air, so they become airtight. And in the long run, what happens is the vegetable inside gets overcooked. So this is what I call my baked tomato sauce. You take, look at those beautiful tomatoes of all different colors. You slice them in half with the skin and everything on, and you want to make sure they're all the same thickness. You don't want, like, I've got a little thin spot here. You don't want them too thin because those will start to burn. You want it to all cook evenly. You make a smear of garlic, parsley, and olive oil. You chop up all the garlic and parsley and olive oil, and you smear it all over the tops of all of the tomatoes. Put them in the oven at 400 degrees for 2 hours. And this is what they end up looking like. And it's crazy, but there's some beautiful sauce there. And then you take and you turn them over one at a time, and you pinch the skin off. And when you pinch the skin off, it falls right off, and you throw it away because you don't want skin in your tomato sauce. So you see the little skin, it just falls right off. And then I take my hand and I break up all the tomatoes, and you pour this right into Ziploc baggies and put it in the freezer. And you can use this for spaghetti. You can anything you're going to use tomato sauce, you can use this. It's dinner ready. I also sometimes use cilantro instead of parsley, and then I can make salsa, and I can make Mexican food out of it as well. So that's my favorite recipe. Okay, so dehydrating I don't do much of, but I did talk about dehydrated persimmons. I absolutely love dehydrated persimmons, dehydrated mango, dehydrated, it's maybe better for tropical fruits, I guess. Talk about sourcing, look, and preparing them for long term. Do you have any canning or food preservation tips? Did that. I already talked about local foods that are not grown, they're raised, like eggs, cheese, milk, meat. Those are all part of that non-ag section of the market. And then the last couple questions are, do I grow my own vegetables? And I only grow what we can eat. Like, I grow a lot of herbs because I love to go out and get fresh handfuls of herbs to put in my food. And I only grow just a few tomatoes right by the back door. And I used to grow 20 tomatoes every year, and I just had too many tomatoes. So I just grow two or three of my big Giuseppe's, which is a big Italian red tomato that's just unbelievable flavor. It almost tastes like it has basil in it. I don't know, it's called the old Italian, the Giuseppe. And then I grow a few cherries, and I grow my jalapeno and my serrano for my salsas, and I grow some Anaheims for stir fries and fajitas. And then, can you taste the difference between local and non-local foods? I think I might have gotten to this, but you really can, because of the fact that it's picked fresh. There's nothing like fresh food, nothing like fresh produce. The last question, let's see, what else did I say? Well, this is a fun thing I can send you. It's about food waste. And then during COVID, there's my volunteers at each entrance, making sure that people's hands sanitized and masked. This is something I want to, actually, I'm going to go back here and I'll do that last. What is a compost pile? That's the last question you have. A compost pile is when you keep all your garden clippings and you don't put them in the compost bin and let it go to the garbage. You find a place in the back of your yard. I have one, and my husband is all constantly moving it. You know, it's kind of best to have like 2 spaces where you can move it back and forth. It's like stirring it, because it's really good to stir it. But all it really is all your scraps from the house that aren't meat related. Actually, another great tip is I use the scraps from my meats, all my bones, all my chicken bones, all my fish scraps, fish shells, and I put them in Ziploc baggies in the freezer. One is chicken, one is red and pork, and one is seafood. And I throw them all in there, and then when I want to make soups in the wintertime, I have my own bones and shells to make stock with. So, but anything that's not meat related, you throw in the compost pile. all your scraps when you cut up your vegetables. You have a little bucket and you just go out there and you throw it on top of all your yard clippings, and you just keep turning it and turning it and turning it. And over time it breaks down and it makes this rich black soil that you can use in your garden so that you don't have to use purchased products, purchased fertilizers. It's always best to use like steer manure. I always put steer manure over my whole garden in January and let it just cook over the whole winter. If you have chickens, my husband did a really smart thing. He raised the chicken coop up, and we have a big dirt flower bed underneath that we're constantly throwing stuff in, and the chicken poop drops down in there, and we throw more dirt and more clippings, all your small clippings, and that is just like a bed full of the richest soil ever. I put an apple tree in the corner of it, and it grows 5 times as fast as any other apple tree in the yard. So that is a compost pile. So any questions?
We actually have one final question, and it's about growing cilantro. Do you have any tips?
So cilantro bolts right away, and that's just it, the way it is. As soon as you, bolts means that the seed pod grows out of the middle, and it wants to seed and start making more plants that will grow around it. But the problem is then you get these big thick stalks in the middle of cilantro. So I actually never grow cilantro. I just buy it because it's really cheap in the grocery stores. But and we have 2 farmers that grow it, so I get it from them. But the best way to do it is as soon as you see that bolt in the middle, cut it, go down and cut that off way down low, and you can delay. You could delay the bolting. Another one will come up and you'll have to cut that one. And after a while, you just won't be able to catch up. But cilantro is a tough one. I use dried cilantro a lot. So the Hispanic Latin markets have the best dried herbs and dried peppers. I use the menudo mix, which is Mexican oregano and garlic and onion flakes and pepper. I use that seasoned meat all the time, the menudo mix. It's my secret ingredient. Everybody goes, what kind of seasoning did you use? The menudo mix left over from my husband's menudo he bought. So.
Well, Tina, thank you so much. You shared so much information. We appreciate you sharing your time and your knowledge. It was a great session. There have been so many positive comments in the chat box.
Oh, yay. I have to
know that the girls were really, really engaged, and we had a very consistent number of girls the entire time. So thank you so much for your time. And I have sent you a follow-up note so that you can send me a link with all those lovely recipes that you wanted to share. And we hope to see you at the market.
Thank you. Yes, I appreciate it. I will get together. Most of the recipes that I gave are very simple, and they'll have really short, easy ingredients. I mean, easy instructions. So,
fantastic.
This is a comment I will leave you with. If organic farming is the natural way, shouldn't organic produce just be called produce, and make the pesticide-laden stuff take the burden of an adjective?
True that.
Something to think about. You know, commercially farmed produce has been the norm for so many, many decades and hundreds of years that organic is now has to have its own name and its own certification, and we could have a whole class just on organic.
Well,
Thank you
call you
so
for that.
much. I really appreciate it. I'm honored to be here and talk to you, and thank you again.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you so much for doing this for us. Thank you.